My dad was my favorite person. He was loving, he was non-judgmental, he was very giving of his heart. My dad's someone who's with me every day. His morals etched in my heart, his ashes in the ink in my skin. I know what it's like to lose someone to suicide.
There's a study of people who had attempted suicide, and they were asked, how long before this attempt did you think about making this attempt? And for 48%, they said less than 10 minutes. And that's why access to lethal means matters, because you want to get people through those short-term crisis periods alive, so that they can get the support they need.
The prospective diagnosis of acute suicidal affective disturbance, or ASAD, is somebody who's highly dysregulated, which means that they're kind of out of control. They're feeling very upset. It's an acute state. They've lost prefrontal cortical control.
When you are in a suicidal crisis, you are so filled with emotional pain. It's like a horse with blinders, and you have tunnel vision. All you can think about is getting out of that pain. However, you're going to get out of that pain. You don't really see a lot else.
You know, he suffered from mental illness his entire life, and it started when he was a child due to, being violated by someone that was very close to him, who raised him. And that really set the trajectory for his life and impacted how he, walked through life. When he was raising me, that trauma was re-triggered, and it set the tone for, him moving forward. Because he was in such pain and suffering, he chose to end his life through suicide 4 years ago.
I think the first time that I had ever felt that something was wrong was in middle school. I had always felt some sort of othering, isolation, feeling weird, just different. But something about being in 8th grade really brought something out of me that was indescribable, but was deeply felt. And one day in 8th grade, I wrote a letter to whoever saying that I planned to not be here anymore. And one day, one of my friends found it. He turned to me and he said, "Oh man, this girl's gonna kill herself." And I immediately panicked. I grabbed this piece of paper and I clutch it. And the bell saves me, and I just leave with my stuff. And I throw the paper away. Just super embarrassed what my friend thought of me.
If we look at the overall numbers for suicide death nationally, it's about 55% of suicides are due to firearms. And so the average number of homes that own firearms, what we see is somewhere between 25% to 46% report that they store all of their firearms securely. And we'd like that particular behavior to change. We'd like that to increase.
If your loved one is struggling, that's a good time to say, hey, can I hold on to the keys to your gun locks? In addition to obviously providing support and helping that person get whatever help they need. For a lot of gun owners, they have their guns in order to protect the family. And it fits in with this sense of safety, responsibility, protecting your family, to make strategic storage decisions. To say, okay, for right now, I'm locking up my gun in a quick access lockbox. Okay, my teenager is really struggling. I think I'm going to store my guns away from home for now.
It's really hard for me, and I know that if my dad was still here with me today, then my life would be different. There's not a day that I go by that I don't think about him. Every day I have to be very brave. If you're out there and you're having thoughts of suicide or you know someone who is, it's okay to ask for help. It's the best thing to ask for help. It's nothing to be scared of. My life would be so much different if my dad was still here with me today. I love you, Dad. I'll see you in heaven.
We make things so much more complex than they need to be. Something as simple as human rights, which feels like it should be so simple, right? I had attempted, I think, 4 or 5 serious times, which landed me in inpatient hospitalization. But my very first time was in 2016. And I had just recently been diagnosed with bipolar 2 disorder. I had no idea how to deal with any of my emotions, and I was also coming to terms with my sexuality. And all of this at once kind of crumbled me down quite a bit. I mean, I was a teenager trying to figure out life. At that moment, I was very low and I didn't know what else to do. I didn't feel like I had a lot of support from the people around me. So I was like looking for other means to attempt suicide. But at the time, I didn't have anything. So I resorted to something that was a lot less lethal. And I now realize that that was a huge factor in why I'm still alive today. I'm now attributing that survival to not having that access. And this wasn't the only time in my life where I can attribute that importance to not having lethal means.
Before the nets were up at the Golden Gate Bridge, there were an average of 30 suicides here every year, and our staff would successfully intervene with between 150 and 200 despondent individuals. A jump from the bridge comes with a roughly 1% survival rate. So very, very few people survive the jump from the Golden Gate Bridge. In early 2024, we completed the suicide barrier, meaning that there's netting now up the full 1.7 mile span. And the early results are that suicides have declined dramatically. In 2024, they declined by 75%, and there were only 8 suicides as compared to about 30 every year before the net was built.
In 2020, I applied to occupational therapy school and I got into Samuel Merritt University in Oakland. And I saw this as a chance for new opportunities. But I didn't expect to feel so lonely being away from home. And I think that's what brought the thoughts back. Feeling alone. I'm just re-experiencing what that was like. Being alone is really hard. And when you feel that loneliness for so long, you just want it to stop. And I just wanted to find a way out, because I was so tired of feeling like this. And my way out was that bridge. So I went down the bridge from Oakland and past that Bay Bridge and thought if I could get past this bridge, then it wasn't my time yet. But once I got to that Golden Gate Bridge, it might be my time. And I did that 3 separate times and just couldn't find the right time to do it.
When you were going to school in the Bay, I remember you telling me you didn't really have a lot of like friends, like not a lot of people that you could hang out with, or just not a lot of people that you felt like you could relate with.
Yeah, I was surprised by how hard it was for me. I really thought that I could just move to another city and restart and make all these close connections like I had in San Diego, but it just wasn't happening.
Yeah.
But whenever I come back home, I get to hang out with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I just haven't put much thought into how important the nails have been for me.
Oh.
And how important you are to me as my friend.
I'm gonna start crying too. I'm gonna start crying.
After a couple of different attempts of suicide, I was 21 years old. And so that meant I had access to alcohol. I had access to all of my medications. I had access to a car and really anything I wanted. So that was the closest that I had gotten to dying by suicide. But after that attempt, my mom took away all my medications to the point where I only had a week's worth of medications. And she took away all of the firearms in the house. She took away anything that was possibly gonna lead me to, once again, attempting. And I think it was really important to my survival and to just keeping me alive in the ways that she could keep me alive at that moment. And I did not see that fight that she was putting in for me and how much effort she was pouring into me to stay alive when I didn't want to stay alive for myself, but she wanted me to stay alive. She knew that I was capable of getting better, and she's honestly, this is so hard to talk about. I didn't realize it was gonna be this hard. I've never told her this, but she is the reason why I'm alive today.
The nets work in three distinct ways. One is they deter people from coming to the Golden Gate Bridge to harm themselves. Two, they provide a symbol of hope and care to despondent individuals. And three, they provide people a second chance if needed. The net is installed 20 feet below the roadway and extends 20 feet out. It's made of a stainless steel metal mesh that's 4 millimeters thick and is pulled taut. So a fall into the net is designed to be painful. It's likely to cause injury and require rescue. And so it acts as a deterrent by interrupting people's thought process who come to the Golden Gate Bridge. Most people who come to the bridge to harm themselves are acting impulsively. They had a bad breakup or got some bad grades. Maybe they're just having a bad day. And having the net here causes an interruption of their thought process, allows our staff more time to intervene with them. And in some cases, many cases, has people turn around altogether and have another day at life.
When I was driving down that bridge, I had a plan to drive off of it and just end it all. But there are a lot of things stopping me from doing that. There were physical barriers, they had the deterrents that they just put in place. The traffic itself, there was no good way to just go. I think coming across those barriers gave me the time to really think about not being here anymore and realizing that I did want to be here and I did have reasons to continue living.
Served in the Army and was deployed to Afghanistan. When I came back, it was great, you know, had all the highs, good to be back home. And a few months afterwards, it all of a sudden just hit me that something was off. I didn't know what it was, but something was off. I wasn't me. Looking back now, I understand it was PTSD, but didn't know at the time, so I just used alcohol to kind of numb the pain that I was experiencing. So made a lot of bad decisions and kind of ran away from what I was feeling and didn't really know how to ask for help. Luckily, I had a good friend who kind of saw what I was going through. She saw it and she called it out because she experienced that same kind of depression, anxiety, and trauma. And she helped me break that negative cycle. And then from that breaking of the negative cycle, I started to make good decisions.
I've never talked about this either, but her name was Dana, and she sat me down and just shared that she could see that there was something I could offer. And so actually 3-ish years later, a position opened up here at Indian Health Council where it was connecting with youth in the community and connecting them to resources at Indian Health Council, specifically mental health resources, and also sharing like self-care tips. So I now work with a new program called Generation Indigenous. So we work with the Native youth and they give us all of their feedback and let us know what would speak to them in terms of a mental health campaign. So I've gotten to work like very hands-on with the youth and very close with the youth. And they've just been amazing in terms of opening up and being courageous and sharing their experiences and sharing their stories. The reason this fulfills me is because, yes, we're creating these campaigns that will go out across the reservations and youth will see them and people will see them for generations to come. But what is really fulfilling for me is getting to speak directly to the youth.
So I spent 24 years in the Navy. I served majority of the time as a SEAL. When I transitioned out, I probably had the most difficult time. You know, Hell Week had nothing compared to what it was to transition. And that transition was really rough for me. I lost my identity, or what I thought my identity was. And it got to the point where quite frankly, I wanted to take my own life in it. And I've had friends before that had done the same thing, right? And a lot of them had used guns to do so. And it really breaks my heart. Like, what are we gonna do to truly bring back the warriors? This is the secret sauce that has saved my life. Or someone saw that I was struggling. Someone reached out and grabbed my hand and said, brother, I love you and I got you. I'm here for you. And I am so grateful to that other human being that took that moment, because that was the day that my life completely reversed. And I was able to spiral up instead of spiral down. So I got connecting with Johnny here at the Restore Hope VFW Solana Beach. Johnny's probably taught 20, 30, 40 people transcendental meditation right out of here. And I know Johnny, who's been on his own journey in this, has found meditation to be life-saving.
I needed something, and I didn't really respond to the conventional, traditional route. So I luckily found a really easy and effective form of meditation called TM, or Transcendental Meditation, and loved it. It worked pretty quickly, and I wanted to teach veterans, just like I was, struggling. And one of the greatest joys that I love to experience and see is seeing that hope come back with the folks that I work with, veterans and first responders who have just not had a good night's sleep, or taking pills, isolating, and after a few days, sometimes of them practicing this TM technique, they start to sleep. You see this brightness in their eyes that wasn't there before, and you can feel it. And what I love is their spouses actually notice it first, and they say, keep doing what you're doing. It's not just about the warrior, it's not just about the first responder, it's the spouse and the children that are involved just as much, if not more. So it really nourishes the whole family.
We've heard from the VA that over 80% of the veterans who take their own life through suicide have never asked for help. And so we're trying to get inside that decision loop and intervene as early as possible. When we do an intake, we look for all the different risk factors of suicide to try and find out if this person is at higher risk than anyone else.
The Collaborative Assessment and Management of Suicidality, or CAMS, is an evidence-based suicide-focused intervention. We take a seat next to the patient to go through this. We know that doing the suicide status form in this collaborative fashion is therapeutic. And as a therapeutic assessment, the patient feels better by virtue of the fact that we've assessed these constructs.
And we do a safety plan. Part of that intake is finding out if that individual has access to lethal means. If they have guns, we give them a gun lock because we want to provide a fire break. We look for all the risks of suicide. We ask if people have prior experience with suicide, if they have a plan, if they have a probability of executing that plan, and we connect them with 988, the suicide hotline, so that they know they can either call us or that hotline, and somebody will be there to help them.
If you are hurting right now, today, and if you feel like things are not going to get better, I encourage you to pick up your phone and punch in 988.
When the pain starts to dissipate a little bit, then you can actually start to access thoughts and memories about how you've taken care of yourself in the past and who also has been helpful to you. And you're guided through that collaborative process with the counselors. And so we develop a plan together. It could be a safety plan or a coping plan, but what can you do after we stop talking that's going to help you? And who might you engage in your life that's supportive to you so you don't have to go through this alone?
Do reach out, because we're here for you and we will help you.
You know, if someone's struggling, just reach out to them. Ask them the hard questions. Hey man, do you have a gun in the house? I'm worried about you. That's all we have to do, right? And then have them come up with a plan of what they need to do to protect themselves and their family. This is a call for love. So if we can come back and really, really, really put ourselves into their shoes and understand where they are, then we can empower them and lift them up, maybe give them one grain of hope.
So I was sent back to San Diego for my school's internship, and I got placed at Urban Street Angels, and I absolutely fell in love with the work. And even though those thoughts stayed, they just came and went, and they still come and go.
Something that Ariel has done for me, she has made me feel at ease with myself and brings peace to the circle, and she's always making it so welcoming at her sessions.
I want to thank Urban Street Angels and Ariel. I love that I get to share a space with friends and people who are nice.
These days I don't feel alone, and that alone is keeping me here. I'm so sorry. I just feel so happy right now. Because I'm here. I'm here because I want to be. I'm here because I want to be.
I felt so lost, but I was able to find that little piece of hope.
All of you is welcome, and there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You don't need to be fixed. You're perfect.
I want you to know that you're not alone, and that there are people out here that want you to be okay.
There is support. There's in so many ways. Physical, human, and otherwise.
And if you need help, reach out, because you deserve it.
There's help, there's support, there's so much.
There is hope.
Yeah, don't give up.
Suicide is preventable, and it's up to us to come together to help save lives. Please join our efforts and visit our website. We invite you to sign up for our free online suicide prevention QPR training today.
By working together in public-private partnerships, we can make our community safer and thrive.
Never gonna quit, never gonna stop. In my own world, living on top. I make the rules, don't play the game. I live my life my way. I'ma keep doing my thing, don't care what you think. I'ma keep living off beat.